Reading through the Bible in a year, November 7th, 2 Kings chapter 20, Hebrews chapter 2, Hosea 13, and Psalms 137 through 138. In those days, Hezekiah became ill to the point of death. And Isaiah the prophet of Amoz came to him and said to him, Thus says Yahweh, Set your house in order, for you shall die and not live. Then he turned his face to the wall and prayed to Yahweh, saying, Remember now, O Yahweh, I beseech you, how I walked before you in truth and with a whole heart, and have done what is good in your sight. And Hezekiah wept bitterly. Now it happened that Isaiah had not gone out of the middle court, and the word of Yahweh came to him, saying, Return and say to Hezekiah, the ruler of my people, Thus says Yahweh, the God of your father David, I have heard your prayer, and I have seen your tears. Behold, I will heal you. On the third day you shall go up to the house of Yahweh, and I will add 15 years to your life, and I will deliver you and this city from the hand of the king of Assyria. And I will defend this city for my own sake and for my servant David's sake. Then Isaiah said, Take a cake of figs. And they took and laid it on the boil, and he was restored to life. Now Hezekiah said to Isaiah, What will be the sign that Yahweh will heal me, and that I shall go up to the house of Yahweh the third day? And Isaiah said, This shall be the sign for you from Yahweh, that Yahweh will do the thing that he has spoken. Shall the shadow go forward 10 steps or back 10 steps? And Hezekiah answered, It is easy for the shadow to stretch forward 10 steps. No, but let the shadow turn backward 10 steps. Isaiah the prophet said to Yahweh, or cried to Yahweh, and he turned the shadow on the stairway back 10 steps by which it had gone down on the stairway of Ahaz. At that time, Berodach-Baladan, a son of Baladan, king of Babylon, sent letters and a present to Hezekiah, for he heard that Hezekiah had been sick. And Hezekiah listened to them, and showed them all his treasure house, the silver and the gold and the spices and the good oil in the house of his armor, and all that was found in his treasuries. There was nothing in his house, nor in all his dominion, that Hezekiah did not show to them. Then Isaiah the prophet came to King Hezekiah and said to him, What did these men say, and from where did they come to you? And Hezekiah said, They have come from a far country, from Babylon. And he said, What have they seen in your house? So Hezekiah said, They have seen all that is in my house. There is nothing among my treasuries that I have not shown him. And Isaiah said to Hezekiah, Hear the word of Yahweh. Behold, the days are coming when all that is in your house, and all that your fathers have treasured up to this day will be carried to Babylon. Nothing shall be left, says Yahweh. And some of your sons who will issue from you, whom you will beget, will be taken away, and they will become officials in the palace of the king of Babylon. Then Hezekiah said to Isaiah, The word of Yahweh which you have spoken is good. For, he said, Will it not be good if there will be peace and truth in my days? He's not acknowledging what he did and how it's going to impact his children and grandchildren. Verse 20. Now the rest of the acts of Hezekiah, and all his might, and how he made the pool and the conduit, and brought water into the city, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? So Hezekiah slept with his fathers, and Manasseh, his son, became king in his place. Now Hebrews chapter 2. The author of Hebrews continues, For this reason we pay much closer attention to what we have heard, lest we drift away. For if the spoken word through angels proved unalterable, and every trespass and disobedience reserved a just penalty, how will we escape if we neglect so great a salvation? That salvation, first spoken by the Lord, was confirmed to us by those who heard, God also testifying with them, both by signs and wonders, and by his various miracles, and by gifts of the Holy Spirit, according to his own will. For he did not subject to angels the world to come, concerning which we are speaking. But one has testified somewhere, and Paul wouldn't say this, saying, what is man that you remember him? Or the son of man that you are concerned about him? You have made him for a little while lower than the angels. You have crowned him with glory and honor. You have appointed him over the works of your hands. You have put all things in subjection under his feet. For in subjecting all things to him, he left nothing that is not subject to him. But now we do not yet see all things subjected to him. But we do see him who was made, for a little while, lower than the angels, Jesus, because of the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, so that by the grace of God he might taste death for everyone. For it was fitting for him, for whom are all things, and through whom are all things, in bringing many sons to glory, to perfect the author of their salvation through sufferings. For both he who sanctifies and those who are being sanctified are all of one. For which reason he is not ashamed to call them brothers, saying, I will recount your name to my brothers. In the midst of the In the midst of the assembly, I will sing your praise. And again, I will put my trust in him. And again, behold, I in the children whom God has given me. Therefore, since the children share in flesh and blood, he himself likewise also partook of the same, that through death he might render powerless him who had the power of death, that is, the devil, and might free those who, through fear of death, were subject to slavery all their lives. For assuredly he does not give help to angels, but he gives help to the seed of Abraham. Therefore he had to be made like his brothers in all things, so that he might become a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to God, to make propitiation for the sins of the people. For since he himself was tempted in that which he was tempted, rather than that which he suffered, he is also able to come to help those who are tempted. Now Hosea 13. When Ephraim spoke, there was trembling. He lifted himself up in Israel, but through Baal he became guilty and died. And now they sin more and more, and make for themselves molten images, idols made from their silver according to their understanding, all of them the work of craftsmen. They are saying of them, let the men who sacrifice kiss the calves. These are the calves that they've made for themselves to worship. Therefore, they will be like the morning cloud, and the dew which soon appears, which soon disappears, like chaff which is blown away from the threshing floor, and like smoke from a chimney. Yet I have been Yahweh, your God, since the land of Egypt, and you are not to know any God except me, and there is no Savior besides me. I myself knew you in the wilderness, and in the land of drought. As they had their pasture, then they became satisfied. Indeed, they were satisfied, and their heart became raised up. Therefore, they forgot me. So I will be like a lion to them, like a leopard. I will lie in wait by the wayside. I will encounter them like a bear robbed of her cubs, and I will tear open the chest, enclosing their heart. There I will also devour them like a lioness, as a beast of the field would rip them open. It is your ruin, O Israel, that you are against me, against your help. Where now is your king, that he may save you in all your cities, and your judges of whom you said, give me a king and princes? I gave you a king in my anger, and took him away in my wrath. The iniquity of Ephraim is bound up, his sin is stored up. The pains of childbirth come upon him. he is not a wise son. For it is not the time that he should delay at the opening of the womb. Shall I ransom them from the power of Sheol? Shall I redeem them from death? O death, where are your thorns? O Sheol, where is your sting? Compassion will be hidden from my sight. Though he is fruitful among the reeds, an east wind will come, the wind of Yahweh, coming up from the wilderness, and his fountain will become dry, and his spring will be dried up. It will plunder his treasury of every desirable article. Samaria will be held guilty, for she has rebelled against her God. They will fall by the sword. Their infants will be dashed in pieces, and their pregnant women will be ripped open. Let's conclude today in Psalms 137 through 138. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat and also wept, when we remembered Zion. Upon the willows in the midst of it we hung our lyres. For there our captors asked of us about the words of a song, and our tormentors asked joyfully, saying, Sing us one of the songs of Zion. How can we sing a song of Yahweh in a foreign land? If I forget you, O Jerusalem, may my right hand forget her skill. May my tongue cling to the roof of my mouth. If I do not remember you, if I do not exalt Jerusalem above my chief joy. Remember, O Yahweh, against the sons of Edom, the day of Jerusalem, who said, tear it down to its very foundation. O daughter of Babylon, you devastated one, how blessed will be the one who repays you with the recompense with which you have recompensed us. How blessed will be the one who seizes and dashes your infants against the cliff. Psalm 138. I will give you thanks with all my heart. I will sing praises to you before the gods. I will worship toward your holy temple and give thanks to your name for your loving kindness and your truth. For you have magnified your word according to all your name. On the day that I called, you answered me. You made me bold with strength in my soul. All the kings of the earth, O Yahweh, will give you thanks when they hear the words of your mouth, and they will sing of the ways of Yahweh. For great is the glory of Yahweh. For Yahweh is high, yet he sees the lowly. But the one who exalts himself, he knows from afar. Though I walk in the midst of distress, you will revive me. You will stretch forth your hand against the wrath of my enemies, and your right hand will save me. Yahweh will accomplish what concerns me. O Yahweh, your loving kindness endures forever. Do not fail the works of your hands. That's all for today. It's all the reading and all the notes. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. Behold, the word of the Lord.